We hike out of the forest and find a new path. Amy leads us north, and we begin traveling on foot for the rest of the day. My legs ache, and by the time the sun starts to disappear, I'm ready to collapse. Maybe I'm still feeling the effects from trying to cast earlier, but all of this walking is making me even more exhausted than usual. We keep walking until we find a good campsite. Leanna says the large open space would be a good place for me to practice my wind magic in the morning. Amelia sparks a small campfire for us. Zach cooks up another delicious dinner, and by the time I'm done, I can barely keep my eyes open. The rest of the group is still up and talking, but as soon as I lay my head down, I tumble into a deep and fast sleep. Someone's a little tuckered out. He's had a long day. Can't say I blame him, though. The next day, Leanna and I get up bright and early. We decide to practice sparring before the others wake up. Our swords clash with a score of heavy blows. Leanna forces me backwards with a huge grin on her face. I'm breathing hard and struggling to keep up as my brows knit in concentration. Leanna sweeps my blade aside and comes back around, but I swing in time to deflect it. Her face brightens and she seems pleasantly surprised.
Wow, that's great! You're getting much better.
Really? Leanna's grin turns devilish.
Hi-ya!
Just enough time to let down my guard, just so she could strike. She lunges, and I let out a sharp cry, barely raising my sword in time. Her movements quicken as she strikes harder. I struggle to keep up, but I manage to hold my own. Ultimately, Leanna's final move knocks me to the ground. I groan, blinking up at the sky. It's hard to breathe with the wind knocked out of me. Are our spars always going to end like this? Leanna's face appears over mine. She smiles brightly. Now that's an image I could get used to.
That was so much better.
I'm still on the ground, though. I lost yet again, though.
This time. But you're getting stronger and stronger every time.
That cheers me up a little. Leanna extends her hand and helps me up.
Let's switch gears. You've been doing really well with sparring, so we should practice your magic training. You need to learn to refine your cast.
You said the words magic training. That still less than thrills me. I know she's right, so I nod. I'm feeling more confident about it now that I know how to cast. I think back on the countless previous training sessions and the frustrations that came with it. Even though I know I still have much to learn before I reach anywhere near Leanna's level, I'm just glad to be past those early stages.
Alright, practice channeling your energy through your manipulator, and this time keep your focus on where you want to cast.
Skirts and updrafts go perfectly together. Focus on a rock, float the pongo. I like the pervy option. I really want to click it. But, you know, we want to do stuff to the Pongo, but what if I mess up and hurt him? We're going to focus on a rock and take the safe option here. Maybe we'll go back at another time and look at skirts and updrafts. My attention lasers on a nearby rock. How do I want to do this? Power overwhelming, power underwhelming. Well, overwhelming might send it high that I can't control it, but underwhelming might be just enough just to kind of get that focused, especially if I'm going with a heavy object here. So we'll underwhelm, just this time. I close my eyes and focus. That familiar energy trickles down my arm. Wind spirals from my gauntlet, but I can't seem to summon enough. The rock levitates just barely off of the ground. My arm shakes with the effort to keep it there. Leanna sends out a whoosh of air, strong and calm. The rock lifts a little higher. Show off. She smiles.
That's better. You're doing well. You just need to focus on summoning more energy.
Leanna looks around and points at a large rock.
Try again on this rock.
I take a deep breath, clearing my mind, and cast again. As usual, a solid gust of wind bursts forth, and I steadily float the rock in the air. Leanna claps her hands together, a wide grin on her face.
Yes, that's it.
It's always better to try to go a little under than to push yourself too hard. Easier to learn how to put out more effort than try to control. At least in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hey, I'm doing it!
What?
The Pongo glances at the floating rock curiously.
Oi.
He senses magic. In one motion, he jumps right onto the rock. The movement startles me, and the rock jolts in midair. The Pongo wobbles precariously, and I can feel the nerves set in again as I fight to steady the rock.
It's okay. Don't panic. Just keep your focus. Try to float them towards you.
Alright. It's just heavier now, so I had to adjust my energy output. I breathe in and out and refocus. The rock stops swaying.
Good. Keep going.
A strong breeze wisps around the Pongo, keeping him in place. I close my eyes and picture him floating closer.
You got this.
I open my eyes. The rock with the Pongo floats closer and closer. A huge grin blooms across my face. It's working! The Pongo jumps from the rock onto my head. As soon as the Pongo touches me, I lose my concentration and drop the rock. Leanna giggles. Can't be mad when he does something cute like that.
Great job.
The Pongo wiggles on top of my head. Thanks for being a good sport. Leanna giggles as I pat the Pongo.
I think that's enough training for today. You've made great progress.
Thanks. I can feel the fatigue start to set in, and I'm grateful to Leanna for ending this session.
Let's go rejoin the group.
Yeah, they should all be awake by now, I think. Leanna nods, and the three of us return to camp. As I predicted, everyone else is awake and even have breakfast prepared. Ooh, breakfast! After we eat and clean up camp, we resume our journey. After a couple of days of travel, we continue to journey along the path when I notice thick clouds darken the sky. Well, that's not ominous or scary by any means. Kara and Leanna cast worried glances above as a loud crack of thunder roils above.
This does not look promising.
We should find shelter. We don't want to be caught in this storm.
Amelia cross-references where we are with Elder Issam's notes.
We are still quite a ways from Allendale.
Then we'd better stop at the next city we see.
I think I have an idea of where we are. If I recall correctly, Wolfsden should only be a few hours' travel. We can stop there.
And hopefully we don't get caught in the rain on the way there. Once agreed, we pick up the pace to combat the strengthening wind whipping at us and make course for Wolfsden. Eventually, we see the tall towers of Wolfsden. We shuffle through the city gates, casting worried glances at the ominous sky. The turbulent clouds don't look any less threatening. We need to get shelter now. People keep their heads down as they push past each other on the streets. They must be looking for shelter from the storm. I look at the surrounding buildings. Most are storefronts which blend into each other as if trying to stay as inconspicuous as possible. As we travel deeper into the town, a few opulent buildings loom in the sky. I guess that's where the better half lives. Well, let's take a look here, because I haven't really taken a look just yet since we're so worried about this storm. I can't see where we are right now. It looks a little more run down. Some of the roofs, I don't think if any of the other towns have had this, or I've not noticed it. They have these spikes that are coming out of it. It's not spikes, but extra pieces of wood coming up from the end. It looks like there's some sort of walkway here on top of the screen, and there's lumber sitting around down here at the center. Definitely seems like there's some cleaning up that needs to be done here. But there's quite clearly a caste difference or a Class A difference, however you wish to call it. But still, looks rather well kept, even though this is probably the lesser half of town. Leanna shifts uncomfortably.
Is it just me, or are people staring at us?
Looking around, I notice all the furtive glances towards Leanna as people give us a wide berth in passing.
No, they're staring at you.
Can you blame them, though? She is very cute. Zach's comment seems to make her even more anxious. Try to keep her hidden. Who wouldn't stare? She should ignore them. Well, it's kind of hard to ignore when people are staring at you. I get that a lot. That might not help anything, so let's try to keep her hidden. I step closer to her to try to block her from view. She blinks in surprise and gives me a small smile. Yes.
Thanks, but I'm not sure how much that will help.
Maybe it'll discourage them from staring.
When you remember what kind of town Wolfsden is, it's no surprise everyone is staring at her.
What do you mean by that? I give Kara a questioning look. And what sort of town is it?
Let's just say that what happens in Wolfsden stays in Wolfsden.
That could be one or two things. Could be like Vegas or worse. Leanna covers the sigil on her manipulator with one hand.
Maybe this isn't the best place for me to be advertising that I'm a part of the Mage Guild.
Zach nods.
Agreed. You're making them nervous.
The stairs remind me of when I first arrived in Meadow Hill. Should we find you a change of clothes to blend in more?
That is a satisfactory suggestion, but perhaps it should be executed without the presence of Leanna. The longer she is in the streets, the more attention she draws.
You bring up a fair point there.
Good point. Let's hurry up and find the inn. Leanna can stay there, and I'll help her find a more suitable outfit.
I don't believe her for some reason. As the wind picks up, more people creep out of shadowed alleyways as they seek shelter. I instinctively check my pockets. Something about this place has me on edge. Leanna is equally anxious. While Amy's expression doesn't change, she does seem more alert than usual. Only Kara and Zach, or Zach and Kara, seem unaffected. Before long, we reach the inn. Thank goodness. Get out of the town. Jeez. Oh! Different design here at the inn. That's really subtle, because normally the fireplace has been over this place. You can see the mantle, it's usually on the left-hand side, I should say. My mouse isn't up. But on the right-hand side here, we kind of have the mantle, and the layout's different. I really like that. I don't think I've ever noticed this change before, or it might not have been a thing when I was doing early access. This is really cool. I like this design. I let out a relieved breath as the fire crackling in the hearth warms me. Kara and Zach go to secure us rooms, and food as the rest of us sit down in a secluded back corner. Although the lobby is full of people, it's more quiet than the other inns we frequented. Most patrons drink alone, and those in groups murmur softly, trying not to draw attention to themselves. We aroused a few curious glances when we walked in, but once we shuffled out of sight, people relaxed and forgot about us. The silence grows stifling as both Leanna and Amelia wait for the rest of the group to come back. I'm wondering if I should say something. Leanna addresses Amy.
There's something that I've been wondering since Hearthpoint, but I haven't had a chance to ask.
Amy shifts her attention to Leanna.
Your mother mentioned that it's taken you a while to get a field study approved.
Yes, that is correct. I understand that such things take time as professors want to ensure the study is a proper fit for the student, but I will admit that I am beginning to become impatient.
She sighs.
Was the process for your field study equally taxing?
Leanna shakes her head.
No, I actually got the first one I applied for.
Well, her eyes grew wide. Amy blinks, then her eyes grow wide.
You were accepted upon your first application?
Yeah,
She stares at Leanna.
maybe the process is different for Mage-Knights and Mage-Casters.
Amy continues to stare. Leanna looks at me and I shrug.
Amy? I do not understand. I have completed all the prerequisites necessary to apply for a field study. I have even attended supplementary training to increase my potential for the selection. For all intents and purposes, I should be the most ideal candidate for the mandatory field study.
She's got a good point.
Is it just your professor's recommendation that you need?
Correct, but I have been repeatedly told that the field study is not a good fit for me.
Leanna rests her head in her hands as she thinks.
Do you think it has something to do with your age?
Amy frowns.
My age should not be an eligibility factor. I have proven myself to be capable enough to study as a mage caster.
That means yes, but she doesn't want to admit it.
This is pretty strange. And they haven't given you a specific reason why you keep getting declined?
I wonder what kind of field study she's applying for. That could have something to do with it, too. Amelia shakes her head. Most suspicious.
I am quite perplexed by the situation, especially now that I understand my difficulties are not standard.
I can feel the frustration behind her words. It sounds like the Academy has it out for her, and I think she's only just started to realize that she's being treated differently. You should talk to your professors. I think it's an age issue. That sucks. Well, when I went to school, if I had a problem with something, I would be able to talk to my professors. Granted, I went to a small school where I could do something like that. I knew where several of my professors lived and I'd been over at their homes. But I would still be able to have that open dialogue, and I think she should here too, because this is an important thing, and she needs a reason as to why they're declining her request. If it really shouldn't be this hard to get into a program, you should have a serious discussion with your professors when you return. Give them a chance to communicate their concerns and explain why they haven't approved you. Leanna nods,
I'm sure they have their reasons, and it would help you to know why.
rather than just being told, your application has been declined. Amy looks pensive as the conversation dies down. Kara and Zach soon return with bowls of food, which we quickly eat. As we push our empty bowls away, Kara drops a key into Leanna's hand.
Okay, so here's a key to our room. You can go upstairs and lay low for the rest of the night. I'll go check the shops and grab an outfit for you.
She winks at Leanna. That's why I was nervous when she said she was going to pick out a new outfit.
Don't worry, it'll still be cute.
Zach silently hands me a key for our room. What about the storm?
Oh, I'll be okay. Zach will come with me.
Zach crosses his arms.
I didn't agree to this.
Kara feigns hurt.
You mean to say that you would let a young woman venture outside into the storm, in the middle of the night, in a dangerous city all on her own?
Zach's eyebrow twitches, but he tries to remain steadfast.
Guilt-tripping me won't work.
Who knows what sort of ruffians are walking the streets this late? If they were to get the jump on me, then...
Okay, fine. I'll go with you. Jeez.
Zach, you wanted to go with her in the first place. Just admit it and be a man already. He pushes himself to his feet. Kara grins widely.
I knew you'd come around.
I'm only doing this so you can't blame anything on me later.
Yeah, sure, whatever. We all know, don't we? Kara smiles and drags Zack with her as they head towards the doors.
We'll be back soon.
We watch them exit in silence.
Well, I'm gonna call it a night.
As will I.
It is getting pretty late, and the thought of a real bed is very tempting after having to camp out for so many nights. I think I'll turn in too. Together, we head upstairs, then split into our separate rooms. I relax in my bed for a while, enjoying the peacefulness of the night as I wait to fall asleep. The Pongo mysteriously emerges from somewhere and hops onto my bed. He bounces over and leans against me before finding a comfortable spot on my bed to sleep. I'm not sure how much time passes, but eventually I hear Zack return to the room and go to bed. I fall asleep not too long after. This is going to be an interesting time, I can already tell. Muffled steps in the hallway pull me awake. Blinking my eyes, I look around. The sun struggles to shine through the overcast sky, making it hard to determine what time it is. Judging by the noise outside, I'm guessing it's well into the late morning or early afternoon. Zack's bed is empty while the Pongo snores softly by my feet. He wakes up as I carefully crawl out of bed, and after blinking bleary eyes, grins widely at me.
Hi.
Good morning! Or, I guess good afternoon. Yawning widely, I push myself completely out of bed and get ready for the day. For once, we don't have an agenda we need to follow while in this town. I wonder what the others are up to and what the city has to offer. And with that, we'll find out that next time. I'm going to end the episode here. As always, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to let me know in the comments down below and by hitting that like button. It really does help me out. Feel free to follow me on social media at Instagram and Twitter at Sylarclone. The links to those will be in the description down below. And if you're new to the channel or have not done so already, make sure to unleash your power by hitting the subscribe button down below today as well and ringing that little bell. And I will see all you heroes in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a great rest of your day. Take care. Now, to be fair, skirts and updrafts do go perfectly together. This pervy option is too difficult to ignore. An idea pops into my head. I smirk before closing my eyes.
Good. Keep focusing.
You're not gonna like what I'm gonna do. A tingling wave of energy flows out of my manipulator. My eyes fly open, and I aim for Leanna, the energy springing out of my fingertips. A gust of wind swooshes up her skirt. She's so adorable! Leanna squeaks and shoves her skirt back down, her face bright red.
Hey! What do you think you're doing?
Nothing. What? I was trying to levitate the... I glance around for a suitable object. Grass. Leanna arches an eyebrow and crosses her arms, clearly unconvinced.
Try again. Actually aim for the rock this time, since you clearly have some level of accuracy over your casts.
Oh, she sounds angry. Oops. I guess she knew I was lying. Leanna looks around and points at a large rock.
Try again on this rock.
Well, I think I made her mad. Worth it.